Today, I'm going to share with you how I got 3,055 downloads, plays, streams, or whatever the name might be that they call it for my podcast in 4 months. Now, first of all, before I even start sharing you how I did it, let me first show you the results and what it looks like. But currently now, I use Spotify for podcasters as my host. It's a free host. That's what I use, probably because I'm broke. Yeah. So, right, you can see 3,055 streams and downloads. 8 Spotify followers. For the last 30 days, I've gotten 68 plays. This one is for on Spotify. And 223 people reached, 22 people interested, 12 people consumed. So this is like the general dashboard. But if you go to analytics, which is the place I really want us to look at, and that is we've gotten 68 plays on Spotify. This one is for the people that actually played and listened to it on Spotify. 6 consumption hours, 3 followers. Now, all platforms, right? All platforms, including Spotify, and all other platforms, Apple and all that. I've gotten an all-time of 3,055 downloads, right? 120 per episode, 201 and 11 in the last 7 days. Now, if you look at all time, you see the graph, how it trends, how it goes up and up and up, and it has been going up. And yeah, what I did to grow this podcast is, even though I post on YouTube and I post on the podcast platforms, I don't post on social media. For now, I have not been posting on social media about this podcast. It could change in the future, but that's not what grew this podcast. So I don't post on social media at all for now. So I know that did not affect the growth of this podcast. So what contributed to the growth of this podcast? What I'm going to share with you is a tool that I use for getting guests on my podcast. And this platform I've been using and has also helped me to grow the podcast. And I'll show you how. The name of the platform is called Podmatch. I'll put the link in the description and you can check out the platform as a host. And this is the platform I use, right? And these are some of the guests I've booked. I've booked over 200, I've booked 260 upcoming guests. I've completed 185 interviews and they've given me 143 reviews. And these are yet to schedule. I've reached out to them, but they've not responded to me and we've not fixed the date yet. Right? So I use it to get guests, but I'm not going to talk about how I get guests on this platform. If you want, I can make a video on how I get guests on this platform. But you can check out the platform. The link is joinpodmatch.com/wisdom. It's the first link in the description. You can go check it out. Right? Now it's a platform for podcast hosts to find guests and for guests to find hosts. Right? It's a simple platform that connects you. You can search for and explore that. But what I want you to know is that when I reach out to guests, 2 things, this is how I use Podmatch to go. 2 things. When I reach out to guests, right, and we conclude the interview, right? This is the first one. First one is the guest audience, right? When I reach out to the guest and we conclude the interview, and once that interview has been fully recorded and I edit it and it's ready to go live, what happens is that when it goes live, I reach out to the guest and tell them that, oh, thank you so much. Your episode is now live. And it was such a pleasure doing this interview with you. What happens is that they share it with their audience, right? Yeah, most of the time they share it with their audience, and I get some listens, right? Then the other thing is that when I reach out to guests, right, as a normal thing that they would do, they I show you what that looks like. As a normal thing that they would do, they would listen to some of my episodes, right, just to get a sense of what the podcast is about. And when they do, now it's not by force, right? But it's just that if a guest is going to appear on your podcast, it makes sense that they should listen to an episode and see the vibe and the energy of what the podcast is about, right? It's basic stuff. Like nobody talks about it. I'm not going to put a rule that you have to, but it makes sense that it's the prerequisite. And so when they do that, let me find, I'm trying to find the guest. Let's see. Okay, I know, I know she has listened. Okay, I'm trying to find a case where a guest listened to the interview. Oh, let's see. Okay. So I think I have to search for another instance of when a guest listened. Who is an example of a guest that listened? Right now. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like. Let me go to prior bookings and which guest told me that they've listened to my show and they like what I do. Let's see. I think this lady, she Pradipa. You can go check out her what she does. Yeah, she has an amazing profile. Okay, so she visited my calendar link. Oh, she didn't listen. Okay, I guess we'll have to find someone. So what happened is that most of the guests, they would listen to an interview to just see what it is all about, right? And okay, guess I can't find it. Well, but it's basic that most of them, they will check out the profile. Some of them, they will end up even following me on social media, even though the account is even dormant, because, to connect with me and all that. And that's like a discussion for another day, because with you reaching out people, guests on Podmatch, you can build your social connect and network with them. So one is guest audience. The second one is requested growth. So it's not like it's requested, but it's more like once I reach out to a guest and we do secure time, it makes sense that it's basic stuff that they will listen to a podcast, to one episode, just see what podcast is about. And that has been where a lot of the downloads has come from. So 3,055 all time, that's a lot and means a lot to me. What I want us to dive in is to really see where the audience is coming from, right? Right. If you see, probably this is what I use, and you see these are the different audience. They vary, right? Depending from 23, 27. So I don't really have anybody between the 18 to 22 years, right? But majority 45 to 59. And you see, I get 70% of my listens from the United States, 6%, 6.3% from Canada, 4.1% from United Kingdom, Philippines, like from all over, like from, is it up to 100? Let's see, is there a way I can click on? Okay, so on Spotify, I just, I don't get that much listens from Spotify. Majority of my listens come from 94.3%. 94.3% is from the web browser, 3% from Apple Podcasts, 2.7% from other. And the reason why it's 94.3% from web browser, as I explained earlier, is because majority of the listens comes from the platform Podmatch, where my guests, they are listening to my podcast to get a sense of what my podcast is all about. I'll just show you what I mean when I say that they get a sense of what I'm talking about. If you look at my podcast profile, right, and you see what my guests will be able to see. So this is my act. This is what they'll be able to see when I reach out to them. You see Podmatch Network member 175 plus episode 125 reviews. But if you scroll down, you're going to see 3 of my latest episodes, right? And you can easily play it and listen. And I don't know if the sound or the audio will play, but so you can easily see, you can see when the episode was released. And yeah, so it's easy to get a sense of what it is. And there's a link to my website. And yeah, so this has been a major growth level for people to listen. And the funny thing is that most are like, oh, well, it's guests. Right, first of all, I'm not spamming. These guests, they are humans too. I know they, yeah, I know that I say it sounds basic, but they're actually humans, right? I know that they guest on other people's podcasts, but they also listen to podcasts. And if they listen to your podcast and they realize and discover that, oh, I love this style of podcast. This is a podcast I want to listen to. Guess what? You've gotten a listener. And so even after that, they're like, oh yeah, I love the podcast, right? And sometimes they're like, oh, the podcast is good. I love what they're doing, but I don't really want to listen to the podcast. So this has been like one major way that I grow the podcast. That's like, yeah, 94.3%. I got the listens. And so if you see the devices, Windows, Mac, Android, iPhone, other, right? For the all platforms, I'm thinking, is there a way to see all total number of countries? But it's a lot. One, two, let's try and count it. Malaysia, Ghana, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20, 28, 28, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. So currently 54 countries. Wow, that's a lot. I've never traveled to any other country. I've never even left my country. So the fact that people from 54 countries all over the world have listened to my podcast, that means a lot to me. And so this is now, eventually I intend to incorporate other growth strategies into the podcast. I just want to break down something that I should bring to your notice. And that is, if you see the episode rankings, you see the episodes like this one are 582 plays, 556 plays, 509, 325, 321, 303, 197. These ones are kind of like latest episodes. So they've not really done much that way. Right. But yeah, this works for me. You get guests. Some of these guests will convert to listeners. And the even most important thing that I have not mentioned, right? And I would make a video specifically for that, is the fact that these guests, I ask them to leave reviews for me on Apple Podcasts most of the time. And then I tell them to rate me on Spotify majority of the time. because my most of my years are from the most of my podcasts are from the US, Canada, Australia. They do have an iPhone, so I'm like, oh, you just leave a review for me on Apple Podcasts, and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And that has been a good lever. So I'll explore that on a different video. So that's how I've been going to podcast. Now, of course, I do to have a holistic growth method, but it's just nice. It's really, really nice to have plays and listens on your podcast that and to actually know that this plays and listens is not bots, it's from actual people. Now, the most of them they are one-time listeners that they just listen to the podcast to get a sense of what my podcast is about. But it's still good to know that it's people, right? And some of them they convert to listeners, some of them they don't, but they listen to my podcast, and which is nice. And so when I go to the dashboard and I see the 358 downloads, 120, 211. And so you see that I just wanted to show you that it's been for about 4 months. Now I've not been consistent. Right, but you see, I released the first two episodes, more like the beginning episode, the trailer and an intro of what the podcast is about, just so that when I start reaching out to guests, when they go check out my podcast, they can easily see what the podcast is about, even though I have not started releasing episodes. It was in April 6th, right? So I did that, and a couple of persons started listening, most of which was me. And then later on, when I started releasing short episodes, and in May 20, then I started getting downloads and listens. So if you see, if we were to break it down by month, we'll see in March 19 to April 17, which was like within April 6, that's when I released the first sets of episodes. I got 23 streams and downloads, okay? In April 18 to May 18, I got 69 streams, not much. But here's where the magic happened. May 19 to June 17, I got 1,079 streams and downloads. And then now, June 18 to July 17, which is this month, still unfolding. So I'm recording this video in June 30. So we still have about 17 days to go. I've gotten 995 streams. So I just wanted to quickly share that with you. Subscribe if you love to follow my podcast journey. And if you want to check out the platform that I use for getting guests, I currently pay, it's very cheap. I pay $6 per month. And they also compensate me for publishing episodes, right? Not for getting views or listens, but for publishing episodes. So if you want me to make a video on that, I could make a video. Or if you want to just check it, you can click on the first link in the description and you can go check it out. Oh, so that's it for that. Thank you very much.